What is good, people? Tunji again from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and remember to ring the bell so you will be notified when I post my tutorials. Man, I'm so excited today because I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this dress water effect. What I enjoy so much on this tutorial is the part where we have the splash effect. All right, so without any further ado, let's jump into today's tutorial. Okay, so let's create a new document. So I'm going to click on file and I'll select new. So for this project, I'm going to be using the Instagram portrait frame size, which is 1024 by 1280. All right, so since I'm not going to print this, I'm going to leave the resolution as 72. So I'm going to call this water dress. All right, so I'm going to click on the create button. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my background image. So I'm going to drag that and drop here like so. Then I'm going to scale this big because we need to make it fill the frame of our project. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in now. All right, so I'm going to hit the enter key. Then we need to drag in the picture of our character. So I'm going to scale that big. I'm going to hit the enter key. All right, on my keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this. All right, then I'm going to hide this because I want to still have this high splash effect here. So I'm going to rasterize this and convert this to black and white. All right, then I'm going to change my blend mode down to screen. Now you see we still have that splash effect here. So what the next thing I'm going to do is to bring down the level. So I'm using the shortcut, which is Control L. All right, then I'm going to move this in. All right, and take this down and from the OK button. So I'm going to call this the same thing here. It's a lady. All right, so then I'm going to add a layer mask to this. All right, then I'm just going to take out some part of the layer from my project just like so. Now you need to be very careful when you're doing this. Make sure it's not touching the shoe like so. Then I'm going to make this visible now. All right, then I'm going to select my pen tool and just crop out the shoe from this layer. So I need to take out this part out from the layer of the skater lady. So I am going to select this layer and click on the layer mask icon here. Then I'm going to use the shortcut on my keyboard to reverse the mask. Now we have this. All right, so I think I still need to take out some part of the background from the layer. So enter and I hold down Alt and backspace to fill the layer with the layer of my foreground. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I hit Control Enter and I hold on Alt backspace to fill the layer with the layer of my foreground. Now you see we have this, so I think we need to fine tune this. Right, so we have this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is to crop out the dress of the lady. So I'm going to zoom in. I'll start from here. Just going to take out the dress. All right, so this is what we have now. So I'm going to hit Control Enter on my keyboard to convert this to a marquee. And I'll select the layer of the skater lady and hit Control J on my keyboard to make a copy of the dress. So I'm going to call this dress. All right, and I'm going to hide this layer so you guys can see what we have now. So this is the dress without the lady. So I'm going to make all the other layers visible again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this. All right. So I'm going to call this one dress BKUP, which is dress backup. So I'm going to hide this. All right. Then I'm going to hit the Control I on my keyboard to reverse this, and I'm going to hit Control Shift and U to convert this to black and white. And I'm going to reduce the opacity of this. All right. We need to take out the dress from this layer. So I'm going to put these two layers in a group. So I'm going to hit Control G on my keyboard and call this. All right. And I'll hold down Control and create a marquee of the cropped dress. I'm going to select the layer mask icon to, to take out the lady from the layer, but this is not what I want. So I'm going to hit the Control I on my keyboard to reverse. I'm just going to reduce the opacity of this just a little bit, like so. All right. And so I'm seeing some lines here. So we need to take out those lines. Okay. So I'm going to select the brush tool and I'm going to hide this. And I'm going to zoom in, reduce the size of my brush. Now make sure your foreground is set to black like mine. And, we just have to take out those lines from a project just like so. Yeah. So this is good. So I'm going to make this visible again. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do is to bring in the splash images. All right, so I'm going to drag in the first one, which is this. So I'm going to drag and drop here just like so, and I'm going to add a layer mask to this because I can see some smoke effect on the splash image, which I don't want. So I'm going to add a layer mask and I'll change my blend mode to screen. All right, so I'm going to move this here and I'll select my brush tool. All right, create the size of my brush and I'll make sure that your foreground is set to black, and I'm just going to take out those smoke. So it's time to start positioning this where we want it. So I'm going to start with this side of the dress. So I'm just going to position this somewhere around here, just like so. Okay, this should be here. So, and I'm going to make a copy of this. This should be somewhere around here, just like so. So I need to take out the effect from this side. So I'm just going to select the brush tool, water effect from this side of the project, just like so. All right, then I'll bring in the next splash image, which is this. And I'm going to scale this down and zoom in, change this to screen. And this should be, let's say here, should be here. Can I go make a copy of this and just position this somewhere around here, just so. Make a copy of this again, move this here, the brush tool, make a copy of this, and this should be here. I'm going to rotate it just like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything in a group. All right. And I'll call this splash. And I'm going to create, so I'm going to hold down control and create a marquee of the dress. Then I'll create a new layer and I'll call this lights. Then I'm going to add a layer mask to this. Anything I draw now will be on the dress of the lady. So I'm going to make sure that my foreground is set to white. Select the brush tool, and I'm going to make sure that my shape dynamic is turned on because I'm using a Graphix tablet for this, but you can also use a mouse. But the reason why I'm using my Graphix tablet is because I want to be able to have the pen pressure option where I'll be able to control the tip of my brush. All right, so I'm going to turn on the transfer option here and I'm going to zoom in. Then I'm just going to draw character light. So now this needs to be white. All right, so I'm just going to draw a light like so. Then I'm going to draw another light here. All right, so I'm going to turn on the transfer option. I'm going to turn it off, and I just want to add more light effect to this side. And I'm going to turn on my shape dynamic again, turn on the transfer, and I'm just going to draw a light like so. All right, so this is what we have now. Then I'm going to still add more water effect to this. So I'm just going to drag this and I'm going to drop it here just like so. And I'm going to change the blend mode to screen again. And I'm going to scale this down. All right, and I'm going to add a layer mask to this. And for this one, I'm just going to take out some part of the splash just like so. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that splash effect is so much like so. All right, now one other cool thing we can do again is to add more light this side of the project. So I'm just gonna add more light here. For this side, I'm just gonna add a little bit light, just more water effect. So I'm gonna add screen again, and this should go down. And I'm just gonna position this somewhere around here like so. Okay, and I'm going to put this in the splash folder and I'm going to add a layer mask to this, and I'm just going to select the brush tool and I'm just going to take out some part of the splash effect, and I'll go to my light layer, select the brush tool, and I'll turn on the shape dynamic option. Okay, and I'm just going to draw some lines around my character like so. Draw some lines here. Right, can even add turn on the pen pressure, turn on the transfer option, and just gonna turn on the shape dynamic, right, and turn on the pen pressure, the transfer option, and I'm just gonna randomly, you know, add some light effect over there, and I'm gonna select the eraser to. So I'm going to just take out some part of the light effect just like so. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to hold down Control and click on the layer mask of the light layer to bring out the marquee of the dress. All right, and I'm going to click on the new layer icon and I'll call this liquid. I'm going to hold down Control and backspace to apply the color of my background, and I'm going to go to Filter, Render, and I'll select Cloud here. All right, so enable change this to clouds so as to have another fill. Then I'll hit the Ctrl D on my keyboard. Then I'll go to filter, then filter gallery. So under sketch, I'm going to select Chrome, and my detail is going to be 2 while my smoothness is going to be 9, and I'm going to select OK. All right, so what I'm going to do now is to change the black on the layer to white and change the white to black. So to do that, I'm on the layer of the liquid, so I'm going to hit Ctrl I to do that, and I'll change my blend mode to soft light. All right, now if you look at it now, you see we're having this water effect on the dress of our character, so I'm going to reduce the opacity. All right, now this is what we have. All right, then I'm going to take out some part of the dress here, so I'm going to add the layer mask to this, and I'm just going to take the dress out like so. And for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. All right, so as to give it that water look. So the next thing we're doing now is to change the color of our character's body. So to do that, I'll go to gradient map. All right, then I'm going to click on this icon to apply it to just only the layer of my character. Then I'm going to change the color of this to dark orange. All right, so I'm going to double click here and move this to orange. Push this here. And I'm going to make this light orange, just like so. All right, so this is good. You know what? Let's just make this more darker. All right, so I'm going to hit the OK button. Then I'll change my blend mode to soft lights. Now you see it's looking too dark on our character, so I'm going to reduce the opacity, but it's still looking darker. And I'm going to add a curve adjustment, and I'm going to apply it to just only the layer, and I'm going to push this up. Now you see we're beginning to see our character. All right, so I'm going to move this here. All right, now you see it's affecting this part of our layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the layer mask of the gradient map, and I'll select the brush tool. Then I need to take this out. Now the reason why this is happening is because we are supposed to put this adjustment effect inside the group of the skater. All right, now you see we don't have that effect anymore. We need to reduce the saturation of the color on the skin of our character, so I'm going to add the hue saturation. All right, and I'm going to select this icon to apply it to just only the layer, and I'm going to move this down just like so. All right, now this is what we have now. Okay, I'm going to add noise to this. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer with hold down, and I'm going to change this to soft light, and I'll check the fill with soft light neutral color 50% gray option, and I'm going to call this noise. All right, then I'll go to filter, noise, and add noise. Okay, and I'll select OK, just like so. Now the next thing we're doing is to add color lookup. All right, so I'm going to select the color lookup adjustment here, and I'm going to change this to film stock. All right, and I'll change my opacity to 18. Then I'm going to make a copy of this again, and this time I'll change this to Fuji 125. This is it. All right, then I'm going to make the opacity of this. So I'm just going to push this down like so. Let's see if I move this up. So I'm going to move this up like so. All right, so the last part is to add this water splash image. So I'm going to change this to screen, and this should be behind the noise layer. and this should go down, and I'll scale this down like so, and rotate it this way, right? And I'm gonna add a layer mask to this, select the brush tool, and just take out those green fill on the layer. So I can even do the same thing here, just take out some part of this, of the layer. And yeah, so this is the final project. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Remember to hit the like button and also share this tutorial. Alright, and if you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to ring the bell so you will be notified when I post my tutorials. I'll see you guys again in the next one. Peace.